Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. We have made March Madness, and it is Coach Runt's first chance at glory. We have won our conference championship against Lafayette, and now we are getting our chance to make a Cinderella run in March. It is the best tournament in sports, and Coach Runt has been dreaming of this his whole life alongside his players. They're going to have to get through Butler, Villanova, Syracuse, Kansas, and Arizona also in our bracket. And Butler may be a little underseeded as they have the National Player of the Year in Jared Gaskins, averaging 25 points, 10 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. And it's not just him. They have a lot of talent on this team. Only lost 2 games all year. Only reason I can think of they're not seeded higher is they're playing in the Horizon League at this point. But this is a really good team. Tough draw as an 11 seed. But we had a later game, and there were some upsets before us. Iowa beating Minnesota, Long Beach State beating Georgetown as a 15-2, and then another 15-2 as Jackson State beat Syracuse in our bracket. But we will have to face Villanova if we do end up pulling off the first upset. Here we go. It's March Madness. CBS got the bracket up for everyone to see. Crowd is packed and you can just feel the excitement. A lot of purple in the stands. So a good sign, this Holy Cross crowd, which had some questions this year, traveling well. Damon Angelo getting the start, so John Anthony going to come off the bench. Besides that, same as usual starting lineup. You can see their starting lineup. A lot of talent, as we know. Both teams have their goals. We want to play runt ball, playing scrappy, pesky, getting turnovers, running in transition. It's pretty much the only way we're going to be able to pull off this upset. And we are off. Derek Dickerson uses his leaping ability and beats the player of the year in the jump ball, but almost instantly, moment's going to be too big as we are turning the ball over on the first possession. We've played at a lot of loud stadiums, but something about March Madness is just different as we are clearly struggling out the gate to adjust to the pace and feeling the pressure. 3 turnovers in the first minute of the game. Butler is also playing in a small conference though, so they may also be rattled, but it does not look like it here as they throw a lob to the player of the year and get the first bucket of the game. And we're getting some good offense here. Great look for Damon Angelo, but he can't hit it, and Coach Runt's already seen enough. He's getting the freshman in the game. Defense is playing okay, but clearly the lights are just too bright right now as we're just making embarrassing mistakes and we cannot put the ball in the basket. Defense, though, has been good, but 2.5 minutes in, no buckets. They're getting an and one here, and Coach Runt is going to need to get things under control. Good time for a timeout and not let this get away from us early. Clearly a lot of jitters for the team so far, but this is Coach Runt's first time here too, so we'll see if he's able to calm them down or if he's just going to make it worse. And clearly not getting much going here, and Butler, on the other hand, is starting to heat up a little bit. We really got to get things under control. 12-0 start to this game. Time to go to our star player, and Cedric Teal looks ready to go. We got to do a better job of going to him in these chaotic moments, especially early. We should have known he was going to be one we needed to lean on. But they're leaning on their star, and maybe a little flop there. Derek Dickerson, Teal, both unhappy with the call. Maybe starting to settle in, though, as once again, we're going to Cedric Teal, getting him an easy post-up, and he is taking advantage of it. Really the only reason we're even close right now. He's our only scorer. But it seems as though both teams are starting to settle in, knocking down threes, and we are going back and forth a little bit, keeping it around a 10 to 13 point game. But against the press, a full court pass leads to a major jam. What a start for Cedric Teal, 8 of our first 11 points and dunking on the player of the year. And after a quick dunk break, both teams knocking down another 3. Jumping ahead about a minute here, they're shooting 57% from 3, but they missed that jumper. John Anthony in the fast break, pulling it back, pulling up, and knocking down the transition 3 to make it 8. Great job bouncing back here, and Banks with a steal, chance to really build some momentum, throws the lob, but Parnell just smokes it. Not sure why you even try a layup there, just go up and throw it down, but we miss a big opportunity. But there's Dickerson to give us that momentum. You can see how he has been such an important player for us, as Caleb Swan for Butler and now has 13 points on 4 for 5 shooting in this half. Got to get that under control. But Teal is keeping us right there in it, just playing consistent, 6 for 8 with 12 points. And now his threat as a roller opens up Plummer for the corner 3. If they start overcommitting to him, that really opens things up. And once again, kind of a soft call. Parnell isn't happy, but it's going to be an and one for Jared Gaskins, who's only a sophomore. The sophomore computer science major winning players of the year, as that's not something you see much. But we are going to go down into the half, down 14. Could have been worse, but definitely not what we were looking for. It's going to take a strong second half to get back into this one, but you can see the team starting to settle in. Teal is getting a lot of attention from the defense and still scoring, but he can also distribute and open up a lot of shots for the other guys. Teal and Plummer, the seniors on this team, really don't want it to be their last game ever, so I'm expecting an inspired performance in the second half from everybody, but especially those two. Good defense to start off, and Teal is running in the break, and there it is, another big transition dunk, bringing the energy. You can start to feel the momentum shift in the building as Anthony is going to knock down a nice 3 there, and then in the pick and roll with Cedric Teal, he's going to throw the lob and pick up 2 more. Teal flexing on the Bulldogs as they're going to have to burn a timeout here to try to get things under control, down to a 7-point game. And after a minute or so of no scoring, Teal gets an offensive rebound and puts it up and in, but gets a brutal offensive foul. Pretty one-sided officiating this game. We have not shot a free throw yet, and we're getting calls like that, which is allowing Butler to just keep building on their lead and just killing our momentum. But we're able to keep it within 7 for the most part, going back and forth with them for the next few minutes. Still seeing basically everything run through Cedric Teal, and that leads to things like this where we see a double team leading to a wide open 3, and his point guard is going to make it a 3-point game. Still playing that aggressive defense as Banks gets his hands on it, but they end up recovering and we are not able to get in front of him on defense, and it's a 6-point game. Quickly trying to get through the press, Plummer doing a good job finding the open man Anthony, who he's going to pull up right away as usual, knock it down, 3-point game. Unfortunately, as soon as we're able to pull it back to a close game, we're letting it get away once again as we're back down 7. And here's Swan once again with another and one, and he's going to make it a 10-point game. Figuring out a way to slow down Caleb Swan is becoming a major problem, and at this point we're down 10 with 8 minutes and 51 seconds potentially left in the season. So there's no more time to mess around. We got to start to put the pressure on them and start to make this comeback. This lineup has played the entire second half, and it doesn't seem like Coach Runt is willing to make any changes, understandably, as this seems to be the 5 that is giving us our best chance. But after another 3, we're throwing this ball away, trying to get it to Cedric Teal, who's just having an amazing game, 22 points, 11 for 18 shooting. And with the clock running down on the shot clock, make it 24 points. Giving his teammates their props, but just terrible defense, and Caleb Swan has just been punishing that all night. They have the National Player of the Year, but their shooting guard is the one that's just killing us. Luckily, Cedric Teal is just staying on fire and keeping us in it. And an offensive rebound, and there's Gaskins. You got to keep him off the board so things like that don't happen. Plummer finding an open lane on the pick and roll to get 2 more. And it's been the same story this whole game. After the slow start, we've been hanging around 7 to 10 points. But these last 5 minutes is what makes March Madness so special. A team like us can make a run against a superior team and make history. It all is going to come down to this. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. We've been struggling on offense, but who else but John Anthony, forcing the turnover and then knocking down the transition 3 as he's been doing all season. More offensive rebounds given up, not going to help. But on the next possession, the 2 seniors working together to keep the season alive, and we're back within 5. Can see the excitement from Plummer as we give up another offensive rebound, but able to close it out and get the stop. And then Cedric Teal getting doubled, finds his other big man who finishes it off, and it's a 3-point game with 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now a minute 30, Teal misses it and picks up a foul in the front court out of frustration. Just can't have a play like this in that moment. Motions are high, but you got to be able to control it. As we get a stop here, now running in the fast break, Dickerson's got it. He's going to find Plummer, who hits the shot over 2 big men, and we're within 1. But Butler looking for the bucket here, running some action in a contested 3, and they nail it. 4-point game. That is a brutal shot for the team. And now Plummer is struggling with the press. We would like to get a quick shot up to keep as many possessions alive, and John Anthony is going to be the one to do it. Runs his guy into a screen, and it's back to a 1-point game. And with 37.5 seconds left, we got to get a stop. For sure cannot allow a 3. Even with the 35-second shot clock, still should have enough time that they can take a shot, and we'll have a few seconds left to get one up ourselves. But Anthony gets his hands on it. We got a loose ball. People all over the place. Gets all the way into our side of the court, but we're not able to recover. They are feeling the pressure right now, though, and we are not going to relent, as it's another thrown away pass, but it leads it right to a Caleb Swan 3, and he nails it. We were all over the place defensively, pressure and leading to loose balls, but we just couldn't get it to bounce our way, and it happens to turn into an open 3 for their best shooter. Just completely unfortunate. The last thing we needed, but now we got to get a 3. Gonna go to John Anthony, because who else? And he takes a fadeaway 3. The defense knew it was coming to him, so there wasn't much to do, and Cedric Teal is going to foul out. We are down 4, and that seems like that is going to be it. We didn't have enough team fouls to make a difference and not enough time left, and we are going to lose a heartbreaker to Butler. We fought all the way back and did everything we needed to on that last defensive possession, but it just didn't bounce our way. You can see the despair on Plummer, Parnell, and the rest of the team. But that is March Madness. One team's got to lose, and unfortunately it just did not go our way at the end there. Extremely unfortunate with how the team performed this year, but Butler is going to end up moving on to face Villanova in the round of 32. And what a final performance it was. 26-10, 3-3 from Cedric Teal. John Anthony with 21, making 7 threes. Brett Plummer with 13-4 in his final game. Just not much else you can ask for these guys. Such a great group for Coach Runt, but unfortunately just could not get over the hump. But before we figure out what happens next, we're going to see what happens in the tournament. Butler ends up losing to Villanova, who makes it all the way to the Final Four to face UNC, Texas, and Kentucky on the other side. Villanova ends up winning, and they're going to face off against number 1 Texas in the championship. And your 2011 NCAA champions is going to be the Texas Longhorns. But we are officially into the offseason, and that is going to lead to some interesting decisions. We saw how important this team was, saw some of Coach Runt's first freshman recruiting class really starting to shine in their roles. But we're also losing some key pieces, and Coach Runt is definitely going to be a hot commodity on the coaching market. So you really don't know what the best decision is moving forward here. There's never a good time to leave a program, but this especially feels like a tough time to leave. There are absolutely some studs, and guys like Jamal Banks and Damon Angelo I haven't even mentioned, that are about to enter their senior year. A lot to consider for Coach Runt heading into the offseason. But you can see the resume in his first 2 years at Holy Cross. 48-19 with a tournament berth, winning 1 game against a top 25 team and a conference championship. Coach Runt is going to be sought after by some of these big jobs. And you can see it, Holy Cross trying to lock us down for 5 years. But we got to first see what's out there, and we have some pretty good offers. Power 5 conferences looking after us. Wake Forest, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Oregon, Iowa, and Cal all offering. A lot of these are bubble teams or early exits who did not meet the expectations of their talent level. So you can see why they're looking for a coach like Coach Runt, who's been getting the most out of his talent. But we've narrowed it down to 3 options, the first of which being staying at Holy Cross. The second is taking the Tennessee job. A lot of resources at this one, not a ton of talent. That power forward is a freshman, so he could develop pretty well, and some good guards who are going to be seniors next year to build around for 1 season. Not the most talented, but lots of resources, and there's just something about that Tennessee orange that really is drawing Coach Runt in. And then the last option is Wake Forest. In real life, they fell off after the early 2000s, but Coach Runt could be the one to change that. This forward, Ray Henderson, definitely a guy to build around. Overall, a lot of talent on this team, besides just the history on top of it with guys like Tim Duncan and Chris Paul having played there. But we're going to wait until the next video to make the final decision. That's probably being filmed Monday or Tuesday night, so if you're watching before then, leave a comment for who you want Coach Runt to go to next, or if he should run it back one more year with the Crusaders. But we'll have to wait until next week to see. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. Be on the lookout for maybe some new series, potentially with College Football 27 coming out soon. But we will see you next week.